Hello, my sweet summer children. In episode 4 of House of the Dragon, Alys has a very interesting conversation with Daemon. She tells him that she's a barn owl. I remembered in the video I did about Helaena and her drawings that Helaena had drawn an owl on her wall and also a castle that looks like Harrenhal. This absolutely made me lose it for a minute. We know Helena gets visions of the future and things, and she sees things that have yet to come. So I was like, hold up, wait a minute. So here we are, you and me, about to try to figure this out. First things first, we don't even know who Alys Rivers is, what powers she has, and what she's connected to. The apron she's wearing is ornamented in weirwoods. This could be hers, or this could just belong to the castle. We don't know. We know that she's 400 years old, she can see the future, and she gives Daemon something that looks like weirwood paste. And I'm telling you, my brain exploded. It was definitely bloody. There was definitely some weirwood seeds in there. Weirwood paste is what's given to Bran to help him become a greenseer. But let's keep going. So I started to think about how Helena's other visions have been when she draws things. She draws the Cargyle twins. She draws them as the golden goose. Their sigil is the golden goose, and she definitely sees them killing each other before they do. So which house of Westeros has an owl as their sigil? House Merton. House Merton's, I don't even know if it's pronounced Merton or if it's Mertain. I don't know. Their castle is called Mistwood, and it's in the Rainwood in the Stormlands. And we may be onto something, because beside the owl is what looks to be, or could possibly be, a crowned stag for House Baratheon. House Baratheon are the rulers of the Stormlands. The Mistwood and the Rainwood are in the Stormlands. And we know that the old Storm Kings could have consorted with the children of the forest to build Storm's End. We also need to talk about the long dead Storm Kings. We're going to get back to that in 1 second, but first, can we please just go over just the lore around the Rainwood? Because that in itself, because if Alys is from the Rainwood, let's just get into it. So the wet wild of the Rainwood was a favorite haunt of the children of the forest, the tales tell us. But the tales also tell us of a woods witch known only as the Green Queen. The Green Queen. The Green Queen held the Rainwood against Storm's End for the best part of a generation. If you wanted your Stormlands lore, you're going to get it today, because I think our Alys may be the Green Queen from the Rainwood, or an ancestor. If you're watching and you like this video, give it a thumbs up, leave a comment, share. It helps our little community grow. It really does. But we need to go back into the history when the Storm's End was built. The song said that Storm's End had been raised in ancient days by Durin, the first Storm King, who had won the love of the fair Helena, daughter of the sea god and the goddess of the wind. On the night of their wedding, Helena had yielded her maidenhood to a mortal's love, and thus doomed herself to a mortal's death. And her grieving parents had unleashed their wrath and sent the winds and waters to batter down Duran's hold. His friends and brothers and wedding guests were crushed beneath collapsing walls or blown out to sea. But Helena sheltered Durin within her arms, so he took no harm. And when dawn came at last, he declared war upon the gods and vowed to rebuild. 5 more castles he built, each larger and stronger than the last, only to see them smashed asunder when the gale winds came howling up Shipbreaker Bay, driving great walls of water before them. His lords pleaded with him to build inland. His priests told him he must placate the gods by giving Helena back to the sea. Even his small folk begged him to relent. Duran would not have none of it. A 7th castle he raised, most massive of all. Some said the children of the forest helped him build it, shaping the stones with magic. Others claimed that a small boy told him what he must do, a boy who would grow to be Bran the Builder. No matter how the tale was told, the end was the same. Though the angry gods threw storm after storm against it, the seventh castle stood defiant. And during God's grief and fair Helaena dwelt there together until the end of their days. Gods do not forget. And still the gales came raging up the narrow sea. Yet Storm's End endured through centuries and tens of centuries, a castle like no other. House Durrandon stood for a long time, until Aegon the Conqueror came to Westeros, and his sister Rhaenys and his bastard brother, Orys Baratheon, brought them to heel. Orys did marry the last Storm King's daughter, and he kept their sigil and colors. So the Crowned Stag is actually the sigil of the old Storm Kings. Which is kind of interesting because in the books, Alys sees a vision, and I'm not going to give any context, so there's no spoiler here, but it says, she saw you in a storm cloud in a mountain pool at dusk. I think the language there, saw you in a storm cloud, hits different when we are throwing speculation that she could be from the Stormlands. But it's interesting, right, that Storm's End is this legendary place that Bran the Builder and the children helped build, so it must mean Storm's End had some relationship with the children. Melisandre confirms in A Clash of Kings that Storm's End definitely has magic in place. She has to be smuggled inside to have her shadow baby kill Sir Courtney Penrose. As Davos unshipped the oars and slid them into the choppy black water, he said, "Who rowed you to Renly?" "There was no need," she said. "He was unprotected. But here, this Storm's End is an old place. There are spells woven into the stones. Dark walls that no shadow can pass, ancient, forgotten, yet still in place." So we have the children active in the Stormlands during the Age of Heroes, during the time House Durrandon and the Storm Kings were ruling the Stormlands. But we have what seems to be constant feuds and reconciliations because the Storm Kings are like taking the Rainwood and then they're giving it back to them. During the Devout gave the Rainwood back to the Children of the Forest, and then during the Bronze Axe comes along and he takes it back from them for good, it says. Then we have Durin Durrandon, that's referred to as Raven Friend. So I think they were still friends with the Children of the Forest at this point. Raven Friend, come on, man. It was Durin Raven Friend that oversaw Stone Dance being built for House Massey, aka Daemon's Blood. But when we get to Durwald Durrandon, known as the Fat, that's when we see some tides are changing around Storm's End. We have House Massey saying, "Nope, you're no king of mine, we're out." And this is the time that the Green Witch takes over the Rainwood, and she holds it down for 20 to 30 years. It is rumored that she is so powerful that Durwald the Fat's rule of the Stormlands extended no further than the distance he could piss off the walls of Storm's End. So could Alys be this Green Queen? Could she be a mix between the Children of the Forest and the Storm Kings of old? The caves that Arianne found in the Rainwood are so similar to Bloodraven's caves where Bran is. The endless caverns that go on, the carved faces, the black pool with the blind fish. But if you actually think about it, if you look at Alys, we're always saying the seed is strong. Jon Arryn died with that on his breath. The seed is strong. Where did that come from? Where did we get that from? A book about Baratheons. In the Game of Thrones, we find out that all Baratheons have black hair. But we know House Baratheon is descendants of the Storm King. Orys Baratheon married the last Storm King's daughter, Argella Durrandon. Black hair. All of Lord Boros's daughters that Aemon One Eye has to marry, like he has to pick one to marry, all of them have black hair. In the books, our Princess Rhaenys actually had black hair. There is even one of Robert Baratheon's bastards in the Vale, Maya Stone, that coincidentally says her mother was an owl. I can't make this shit up. Her hair was black as a raven's wing, so short and shaggy that Elaine suspected that she cut it with a dagger. Maya's eyes were her best feature, big and blue. She could be pretty if she would dress up like a girl. Elaine found herself wondering whether Sir Lothor liked her best in her iron and leather, or dreamed of her gowned in lace and silk. Maya liked to say that her father had been a goat, and her mother an owl, but Elaine had gotten the true story from Maddie. Yes, she thought, looking at her now, those are his eyes, and she has his hair too, the thick black hair he shared with Renly. And look at Alys. Black hair, blue eyes. If she's 400 years old, she's probably wearing a glamour. So that might not even matter. But Alys calling herself a barn owl, Helena drawing the owl, Harrenhal the deer, I'm spiraling. Throughout folklore and myth, owls are associated with so much. There's death, doom, and bad omens. And then other folklore and myth, they're associated with wealth, wisdom, intuition, and transformation. But ancient folklore says if a barn owl is screeching, it's a signal of a coming storm. There's that word again. Storm again. But if Alys is a descendant of the Storm Kings and the Children of the Forest, then that's very similar to the ghosts of Highheart and Jenny of Oldstones with the flowers in her hair. Jenny of Oldstones says that she is the descendant of long-vanished kings of the First Men. Jenny of Oldstones marries Duncan Targaryen, the Prince of Dragonstone, heir to the Iron Throne. Marrying her cost him his crown. See, Prince Duncan was already betrothed to Lionel Baratheon's daughter. Okay, book spoilers beyond this point. This rhymes. This rhymes with Aemon and Alys. Aemon gets her with child and doesn't ever want to leave Harrenhal. Alys claims their child is his true-born son, which would have to mean that they were married. This is the most Robb Stark shit ever. But it definitely rhymes with Jenny and Duncan. And let's just throw in a broken betrothal to a Baratheon. But if we have cracked the code on who Alys is, and if she is the Green Queen or a descendant of the Children of the Forest and the ancient, long-forgotten Storm Kings, what does she want? What is she doing in Harrenhal? When did she get to Harrenhal, and why did she go there? It's clear she has powers. We know she can see the future. In the book, she's very powerful. She can make someone's head explode or choke them when she's not there. But the fact that Helaena sees her and draws her, I have to think she's important. She may be a green seer, a green dreamer, but Daemon has her interest, and she seems to be helping him. She made him a bloody, weirwoody draft and said you'll need to sleep if you're to win this place to your side. She's talking about the castle, the weirwoods, the old gods. So what if she knows about the prince that was promised in Aegon's dream in the Song of Ice and Fire? Could she be trying to help in some way? Could she want revenge on the Stormlands who took the Rainwood from her ancestors? If it is revenge on the Stormlords that she wants, she sure gets it. I mean, the Robb Stark of it all, broken betrothal, another Baratheon king's daughter set aside for some woods witch with the scent of long-vanished kings of the First Men. But hold up, let me cook. What if the ghost of Highheart knew? And Alys knows that the prince that was promised, Aegon's dream, the Song of Ice and Fire, all starts with a broken betrothal to House Baratheon for a Targaryen prince. Lyanna Stark breaks her betrothal to Robert Baratheon for the Targaryen prince, Rhaegar Targaryen. At this point, I'm just going to say we cracked the code. History doesn't repeat, but it rhymes. I don't know. What do you think? I just want her to leave Daemon alone, girl. He needs to sleep. He has a war to win. But I'm going to leave you guys with some Shakespeare. Birds of omen, dark and foul, night crow, raven, bat, and owl, leave the sick man to his dream. All night long he heard you scream. Thanks for watching, everyone. If you like this video, give it a thumbs up. Thanks for all your support. Okay, my sweet summer children, have a good day.